What is up, my fellow YouTubers? Bubbinator0610 here, coming at you with a Far Cry Primal review. Um, right off the bat, I really can't say this game is worth the money. I would say it's probably a rent for most people, unless you're a die-hard Far Cry Primal fan or a Far Cry franchise fan. Um, or unless you just want to see what it's like to be a caveman in 10,000 BCE. Um, I really don't think the game holds its value for 60 bucks. I honestly believe this game should have been DLC for Far Cry 4. Just seems like that they could have did a much better job with DLC over making a standalone game, because it feels just like Far Cry 4, except you don't have guns. The game works very well. There is a couple things that it lacks on, and one of the things is the fire on the mechanics just don't look that great. And the water on the waterfalls and stuff, it's just not that great looking. I didn't have no problem with anything weird happening, falling through the map or anything like that. The sounds, I think, are pretty realistic to what a saber tooth and everything else would sound like back in them times. So I think they did a good job on that. Far Cry Primal is a single player game that's campaign driven. There is no multiplayer. If you're a first time person to Far Cry, every Far Cry seems to play near about the same. You have a takedown mechanic. Usually you always have some sort of throwables, whether it be, knives or spears in this case. It is a hunt and gather type of game. There is no DLC as of right now. But I'm sure in true Far Cry fashion, there will be some kind of DLC in the future. I can't remember ever playing a Far Cry game that didn't have some sort of DLC in it, added to it eventually. But, I mean, really, this game, I can't... I really honestly believe that one of the things they did was they just took the AI straight from the previous Far Cry and just made it different skins with different weapons, because unless I just suck at this game, it seems like the enemies was just too overpowered. They acted just like they did in Far Cry 4. And the bad thing about it is you don't have a gun. All you have is a single shot bow and arrow. And I don't know what you're supposed to do against a pack of enemies that's steady throwing rocks and slingshots and bow and arrows at you and bombing you and everything else. I just think they made the enemies... I can understand they probably wanted to make it challenging, but it's just... They was just too overpowered. I do enjoy running around. There's really nothing like riding a saber tooth and being able to throw a spear off the back of a saber tooth in somebody's face. I mean, that's very satisfying. Visually, cutscene wise, I think they did a really good job. There's this map is huge to be running around on foot. I mean, it would take you a good little bit to run from one end to the other. The way the game works is you go out in the very beginning. It starts up a nice little skill tree, and you have to go rescue members in your tribe and bring them back to your tribe, and you open up certain spots on your skill tree. The whole game is based on Takar taking over this land to prove that he's the Beastmaster, so he can control beasts. And he has to recruit people into his tribe because these, I think they're called Udam, are wanting to take over. And apparently they're some kind of cannibals. So they're eating the Winja, which is Takar's tribe. Um, and on here, there's no more climbing towers like you had to do on Far Cry 4. Uh, there's uh, these big piles of wood that you have to burn as like markers. I can't remember what they're called, but this is pretty neat. This is Owl Vision, which is kind of like a UAV in Call of Duty, which was I thought that was pretty neat. And then you see right there, the guys wear face masks, bone face masks, so it ain't like you'll always be able to get a headshot every time, and it's just annoying to have to try to deal with. I mean, it really is. I would really think that they would make this game, the enemies on this game, not so hard. And that's just really my biggest gripe with this game, is that I really believe the enemy AI is just too overpowered. As far as what I'm going to give this game as a rating, I would probably say I would give this game a 7. I mean, really, because I really believe that this game should be DLC. I really think they could have incorporated this game into some kind of DLC with Far Cry 4 and took off, like $20 to be able to not have to pay the full $60. Because I really put more into this game than what I thought it would come out to be like. I don't know. It just feels like DLC to me. I may be wrong. I've been wrong a bunch of times. But this is one of my favorite characters right here. This guy, whenever you first meet him, he traps you and pisses all over top of you. It's pretty crazy. I mean, Far Cry is true to their story of having crazy characters in their games. And this is one of them. I mean, it's pretty funny, this guy. This is probably one of my favorite cutscenes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Alright. Alright, you guys. This is Bubbanator 0610. Always remember, like, subscribe, favorite, share. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Right now, it's probably pretty easy for me to answer comments because nobody's commenting. Anyways, we'll see you in the next video.